Hi folks, the third light out of the 3 that I'm uploading my 3 videos on tonight, the Sofirn DF60. This is another diving light from Sofirn. As you can see, it's a bit of a chunk. It's certainly very, very weighty and substantial in your hand. And let's have a quick look at the specs in the first instance. Super, not turbo, super, 6,000 lumens, high 1,800 lumens, medium 900, low 350. Max runtime on super 2 hours, 3.5, 5 hours, and so forth. 6 Cree XPL2s. That's where the 6,000 lumens is coming from. Pretty decent beam distance there, 356 meters. Impact resistant, 1 meter, 150 meters. Depth resistance. Doesn't mention anything about any ATR step down. I'll come back to that in a moment. So a friend popped round, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, having a look at the lights that I've got. Another fussy bugger, same as the old chap in the park that I mentioned on the previous video. There's nothing that I showed him that he wanted either too expensive or too complicated or not enough power. And what he wanted was a simple, weighty, chunky light for walking around at night, as you do, that's what you use a torch for. And it's certainly that. I don't know whether he was thinking of perhaps giving somebody a knock on the head with it. It'd certainly do that. And it's certainly pretty easy to operate. We've got this magnetic arrangement switch here where we just simply scroll through our power levels and back to off again. Look at all those LEDs stuck in there. This thing really performs well, and it fit the bill exactly as to what he was asking for. You know, don't want complicated. I want a reliable, inexpensive, hard-wearing light. This is going to take all the abuse you can throw at it, and you don't get any easier than that, do you? And you're certainly not going to need a great more than 6,000 lumens. I mean, that's just bouncing off the walls, and it's unbelievably bright. It also comes with, which he was another moan and groan, can I use different batteries? Yes, you can. You can put 18 650s if you want. It does come with 2 26 650s. Oh, I don't want to buy a charger. Well, that's okay. It comes with a charger. Does it come with a decent lanyard? Yeah, it does actually. In fact, everything that you need, it came with it. What more could you ask for in a light with the build quality and the performance like this? I did have to put a warning on the end though, which was when I was using this, if I was ramping it up to its highest level, and I don't suppose you get this if you were scuba diving, which is what it's designed for, it was getting very hot around the head. I was measuring sort of 55 upwards after about 4 minutes, but that heat wasn't creeping down into the handle. And you tend to get that, don't you, when you're using a light and it doesn't have the temperature regulation step down, or at least it doesn't mention it in the manual. You start to feel it getting hot. Well, you don't with this. And it wasn't getting hot particularly quick on that turbo. But you touch that head there and it was getting warm. And I didn't really want to push it much past a temperature of 55. So if you're interested in one of these, I wouldn't be putting it on its highest mode and propping it up somewhere and going to sleep and forgetting about it. Be a little bit conservative with that, and bear in mind you're not getting a fantastic amount of warning because the heat doesn't creep down the handle. But he was happy with that explanation. I've been happy with this light. I've been using it a lot. Very similar to I'm calling it the baby brother now, the SDO5. Very, very similar. I've done a review on that one and he pinched that. This is the replacement one. He pinched this one off me. I had to go and buy another one. Pinched this one off me. I've had to go and buy another one because he gave this one to his girlfriend, and this one does have the ATR regulation in it. It's kind of like a bit of a his and hers arrangement, isn't it? Right, let's take out the DF60 and I'll show you what it can do outdoors. Hi folks, here's our Sofirn diving light on its lowest setting. Yes, lowest. And that's pretty blooming good, isn't it? As it is. Quite a floody beam on there. I think giving us a reasonable amount of distance on it. Or next, and highest, and back down again, and let me just put in a picture of where we are and do that again. There's our lowest mode, second from bottom, next up, maximum 6,000 lumens, and whoa, dear me, I mean that is just an immense amount of, well, 6,000 lumens speaks for itself, doesn't it? But it is really using those lumens remarkably well to just throw everywhere. And of course, remember what I said in the review earlier on the desktop review, you're going to get about 4 minutes on that before you might feel the need to manually turn it down a little bit yourself. I didn't come across, as mentioned, any temperature regulation. I mean, you might be happier on the 1800 lumen setting. And that's getting up there in terms of how well I expect a torch to perform with 1800 lumens. And it's just ridiculous up close, second to bottom. And the run times as well. Well, it's not a massive bodied torch, is it? But even on our 6,000 super duper level, it's listed as having a 2-hour run time. That won't be 2 hours continually, of course, it's going to get too hot. But 2 hours use, on and off. But I think that's pretty good. Let's take it somewhere else and have a look. Let me just show you this spot here, folks. I'm on the lowest, but let me just crank up to our max and move along the side of this lake. I think you've got to agree that's pretty impressive. Just take one down a level again to our 1800. Pretty good, isn't it? Up. And what the one-handed operation is really easy on this as well. Obviously I'm manoeuvring the camera here, but the torch operates really easily with just one hand and a twiddle of that down. In fact, let me see. That's our second to bottom. Okay folks, I'll carry on. Hi folks, let me just add the picture of where I am with the Sofirn. That's on my second to bottom. And scroll up, turbo. And down the side. This lake. Absolutely smashing that distance, isn't it, at 6,000 odd lumens. The 1800 lumen. It's pretty respectable as well at 100 metres. Not as much as that though. Let's have a little bit look a bit closer. I mean, that's just wow, unbelievably bright. Or 1800 setting, lowest. That low really does perform well, you know, at close range, as you can see. In fact, you know, that's probably how I'll be keeping it for walking the dogs. That's a lot more sensible, isn't it? And then when you need it, you can just blast all the way up to that. A really nice spread of outputs there, folks. One last shot at that opposite side of the lake. There's two trees at 100 metres. Last comment on the temperature there, and apologies for repeating. Holding the handle, the temperature isn't creeping down. Still feels cool to me, but touching the head, that's getting pretty warm now, so you are just going to have to be mindful of that, and that you're not getting much of a warning in your hand, so to speak. You've got to keep on checking that lens and seeing how much heat is being built up. Right, okay folks, thanks very much.